morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, man, this is your boy Sarge, man. Hopefully, everybody's having a great Tuesday. Taco Tuesday, I heard. Hey, man, let me just start this off, man. There is no love for the night shift guy, man. I'm telling you. Hey, man, I would not be nowhere without the coffee this morning, man. But we're going to get up and we're going to make this thing happen. I'm super excited today. Man, we're finally going to be talking about the man behind the book, you dig? The man behind the book. Man, so right now, get up, get your coffee together, man. Call your friends, tell everybody that we're going live, YouTube, Iron Elite page, Chris Houston page. We're going to be talking about some stuff this morning, man, so y'all get ready. Hey, man, I hope everybody's having a good morning out here. Man, I'm so excited, man. This is the day I've been waiting for a long time, man. I'm going to finally be able to talk about this book, man, that everybody's been going crazy over, man. We're going to talk to the guy who authored this book. We're going to talk to the guy who this book is about, man. We're going to be talking today about PTSD. What does this acronym mean, man? What is this disease is? What is this all about, man? But we're going to be talking to him today about it, man. We're going to break all these things down and hopefully give you guys a better understanding of what PTSD is and how it affects us as well as our family members, man. So let me bring him to the stage. Mike, man, let me tee this up, Mike. Man, I know you as Pablo Frescobar. I know you as Chief Warrant Officer Four, McKoy. I know you as Big Mike, man. I know you as a dude who ride motorcycles, man. But if you don't mind today, man, introduce us to yourself, man. Introduce the world to yourself, man. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so appreciate you having me on the show, Big Sarge. It's an honor to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Just a little bit about myself, man. I emigrated from Jamaica back in 1990. When the story goes that my mother and my father, you know, back in 1972 decided to have me. So 51 years later, I'm on Big Sarge podcast, trying to give a little bit of insights about PTSD and my experience. And just a disclaimer is that this is not a prescription for anybody. This is just my experience and how I did what I did to mitigate some of the triggers to better myself. Every day after that. Like I said, I spent 26 years in the Army. Let me give myself my 5 years because that count towards the financial piece.
That's
So,
right.
yeah,
That's right.
I retired as a Chief Warrant Officer Four, which is
Yeah.
a pretty high ranking guy. I was an officer in the Army, did 26 years, and decided to retire medically because of my heart, for one. Um, I am the president of Tampa Rare Breed Motorcycle Club down here in Tampa. We do a lot of good things in the community, ride a lot of miles. But today, we're talking about this book that everybody been talking about and texting me and everything.
You dang
I'm a
right.
real down to earth guy. So I'm here. I'm user friendly, Sarge. So have
Yeah.
at it. Whatever questions you want to shoot my way. Um, let's go, man. Let's have some
That's
fun and
what's
let's
up.
educate some of these folks so we can help families and in-laws and everybody that need the help out there.
That part. That part. So first and foremost, man, the book, Courage Unveiled. Navigating the battlefield within. Man, I'm telling you, this is how it kind of got to me first. I remember uh, low key, he calls me up one day, Sarge, hey, I got something for you, man. I said, what you got? What you got, man? Talk to me. He said, man, this book that Mike McKoy wrote, Sarge, I think you'd be very interested in this book, man. And he started explaining to me and telling me a little bit about what it was about. And he linked us up, man, and Of course, I talked to Mike on the phone a couple of days prior to, and I went out and got the book, man, off Amazon,
Right.
and I read the book, man, and I felt like, brother, I was walking the walk with you. Full disclosure, I'm a retired Marine of 22 years, retired combat veteran.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir. Same to you. Two tours of well, two wars, three tours of combat. So I kind of understood exactly what you were kind of talking about and where you were coming from. But as I got into the book, man, I found out the book is not really just about the military, your military experience. It talked about your family, how you were raised, and how all these things came into play to get to where you at today.
Yes.
And if you don't mind, and for the listeners and the viewers out there, man, I'm not gonna give you all the sauce because y'all gonna need to buy this book. And the link is in the description now. So go get this book, man, and support my man because my man's got some really good information that he's gonna give to us. But for the viewers out there, we're gonna kind of and also Mike, if you don't mind, we're gonna kind of skim through each and every chapter because I want to walk us up to
Sure.
where we're at today. So if you don't mind, uh, I like to just start right off the rip, defining PTSD. And first of all, what is PTSD, if you don't mind?
So PTSD is post traumatic stress disorder. A lot of veterans nowadays, we don't like to use the word disorder because we don't look at it as a disorder. We're still living, we're still functioning. Some of us still work. Unfortunately, some don't work. But some people will say PTS, which is post traumatic stress. And like I said, the misnomer of a disorder just it's not a good word to use when you have an able-bodied man or woman, but it's just sometimes their brain just not triggering right because of a certain traumatic experience that they incurred, whether in the civilian life or in the military life. So PTSD basically is just your psychological responses to trauma. That's the bottom line up front. If you want to
Okay.
get into the medical deep weeds,
Right.
that's not my lane because I'm not a medical profession, but it's just how your brain respond to trauma. I mean,
Right. Right.
definite trauma because some people go to war and they don't
Mm-hmm.
experience PTSD,
PSD.
trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether they're a combat service support unit that never goes on the front line or never
Mm-hmm.
seen any action per se,
Mm-hmm.
because you got people who deploy to Kuwait, Qatar. We're not going to say it's
Right.
not a deployment, but
Right.
it's still away from your family for a year or
Mm-hmm.
6 months or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
operation timeline calls for.
And it's not only military veterans that deal with this. It could be first responders. It can
Yes.
be maybe the way you were raised. Maybe it was growing up in an abusive household. Uh, it could be a myriad of things, right? It could be people who had to experience maybe the situation in the world trade or just anything, man. It's not just for military type stuff. It could be for pretty much anybody in any walk of life. Am I correct?
Yes, and sometimes it doesn't just affect the member. It spills over into it's like a watercolor. You're
Mm-hmm.
trying to color right between fine two fine lines. It spills over and it
Right.
actually affects your family.
Right.
It affects your friends. I've had friends that, they disown me because of this. I don't
Yeah.
think I walk around waving a gun and acting wild and crazy,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe they didn't know how to deal with somebody with PTSD. And they told me, like I say in the book, they were like, we saw you going down this hill, so we left, which is fine. So that's
Wow.
why we're here
Yeah.
to
Wow.
educate
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's
That's
true.
been a place that we
Yeah.
can educate people. I'm glad everybody's tuning in. Shout out to GQ, Tawana Moses. That's a real good friend of the family.
That's what's up.
Chris Harris, Jonathan Taylor. Shout out to everybody, man.
Oh yeah, they on here, man. And they're coming on.
Yeah,
Hey man,
appreciate
don't only just come on, but tell somebody that you know to get on. Please, man, because we
Yeah,
want
tell
as
a
many
friend to tell a
people.
friend, man. We
Tell a
live.
friend to tell a friend, man. We need to get this thing cranking. We need to share. This is each one teach one on a whole higher level today, man. So I appreciate everybody who's spending time with us this morning. But if you don't mind, Mike, anything else on PTSD itself?
It's one of those, I won't say it's a silent killer, but
Mm-hmm.
it can evolve into a killer,
Mm-hmm.
of an individual. It just depends on how you look at it and how you take care of yourself, how your mindset of wanting to be well again, knowing
Right.
that you're not well, because a lot of us, male and female, we don't want to tell the world that we're hurting, especially males, because we're supposed to be the head of our family. We're supposed to be making decisions and, taking care, protecting our family from everything. So, when somebody says, "Hey, how you doing? You doing all right today?" And 5 years ago, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm straight."
Right.
That get them up off of me. But inside, I'm
Yeah.
like, man, if I just need help,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, a lot of people they don't want to get help because a lot of times the counselors are what I've experienced is young
Mm-hmm.
white people.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of blacks are like, I ain't trying to hear what them white people got to say, which is crazy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. It is
that's
crazy.
I've
Yeah.
heard that a lot, and but whether white, black, Asian, whoever, a counselor is there to help you. Now, with that being said, you know, um, you definitely have to choose your right counselor. And with the VA, you can say, "Hey, I don't want to deal with this individual because they just they pushing me too hard and too fast."
Mm-hmm.
Because you can get overwhelmed. It's just like you get a death in the family and you get 3,500 Facebook text messages saying, "Hey, bro, your mom is in a better place.
Mm-hmm.
God don't make mistake." The
Yeah.
normal,
The normal
regular,
cookie cutter stuff.
phrases
Yeah.
that you hear, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
overwhelming because one, you want to answer everybody, but at the same time, you keep bringing up that trigger that, damn, my mama just died. Leave me alone.
Right. Right.
Let me grieve because some of us grieve differently.
Right.
Well,
Right.
shout out to Star Time, man, my guy in Atlanta checking in too.
That's
Appreciate
what's
you
up.
coming in, man.
Well, let's take it, man. If you don't mind, let's take it from this. In July 1991, I enlisted in the United States Army, marking the beginning of a transformative journey. I'm looking at my path took an unexpected turn when I deployed to Iraq in 2003. If you mind, let's start it there if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, I joined in 1991, and by 2002, I already did the crossover from being an enlisted member to a warrant officer. Um, as soon as I dropped in, I got reassigned to Germany. 2 weeks later, they say, "Hey, Chief, we're ramping up. Get your Ace, B, and C bag ready, and you're deploying to Iraq." And I was like, "What? Well, I just came out of school, like." So
Nice.
my
Yeah.
commander at the time, Captain Terry Brannon, uh, he said, "Hey, we got to go." So I got in the
Right.
mindset, got my training up, got the weapons cleaned and everything. We had 24 troops with us. And I want to say 90% of the detachment was black, and the average age was about 24 to 25 years old,
Yeah.
right? Our commander was a Caucasian man.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what that means later on.
Okay.
And please remind me if I don't,
Okay.
because there's a point where, and I can discuss it now, where he actually comes to me and say, "Hey, Mike, you identify with them. I need you to talk to them." And we did that. So you try to tell a 24, 25-year-old kid in a wartime, "Hey, settle down." And it's the first time they ever been away from their houses, their mother, their father. It's kind of hard. So
Oh
you got
yeah.
to get
Yeah.
into weeds, and
Yeah.
your leadership skills got to be on par for all of that. But so anyway, we took off. We landed in Kuwait, um, a place out there called Navstar is where we took off from. And there's a long road to drive up to Baghdad International Airport. We call it BINA for short. We got all
Mm-hmm.
kind of acronyms in the military.
Yeah.
And so we got there April the 4th, April the 4th, 2002, because shock and awe hit March the 4th. By this time, Marine Corps was up there already. Everybody, the ground troops were already up there, paving the way for us, combat service support guys to come through.
Mm-hmm.
And on the way, we stopped at a couple of camps, looking for weapons of mass destruction and talking to the other guys that were there. We see a whole bunch of trucks, tanks just ripped apart, burning, smoke everywhere. And we still got to go up there. We actually passed Nazaria, where Jessica Lynch made that wrong turn. That's
Familiar
what the
with that.
story goes,
Yeah.
and she's a POW.
Yeah.
We're not going to take nothing from her, but we passed there. We went up a little further, and I tell you what, Sarge, I know we talked about it prior, and you said you were up in the front. I
Yes,
know it
sir.
was y'all that was busting y'all guns up there, because
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
heard
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
Baghdad International Airport, the guy in the front of the convoy radio back to me, and he was like, "Chief, this shit sound like, excuse me for cursing." He said, "This
Yeah.
shit sound like South Central LA."
Yeah.
I ain't never been to LA,
Yeah.
but I'm like, "God damn, I've heard."
Yeah.
So it was a lot of new things that we were experiencing. It's
Right.
okay if you
Right.
hear in the hood, you hear a couple gunshots. If you deal with Crips and Bloods or Pookie and Ray Ray, you
Mm-hmm.
know who's shooting at who. But over there, everybody dresses the same.
For
So
sure.
you don't know with rules of engagement who you're gonna shoot from who you're not gonna shoot until you see a guy with a weapon. And based on the rules of engagement, then you decide on what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
So it was a new feeling to everybody once we got to Baghdad International Airport.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just chaotic, man. I've never seen so much bullet holes in a building before,
Yeah.
and it was just new to all of us. We were taken back, like, damn. And I start thinking at that point, like, is this a good day to die or what? Because
Yeah.
I've always heard from my leadership that, um, it's always an honor to die for your country. That's what I was taught,
Yeah.
that if you're gonna die, you should die in war. That's honorable. So for me, I was like, shit, man, I just got here. Like, this ain't even my country. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to get a good life,
Yeah.
but I'm in
Yeah.
that position where I got to keep my head focused, because my troops, my commander, my first sergeant, they're relying on me just like I'm relying on them to, one, take care of them and get everybody back home safely, which we did. All of us got back home safely, so that was good.
Well, I tell you what. So we dealing with all the things that happens. We call it the fog of war. Of all the things that are going on that are happening. As a matter of fact, I was starting to get. I was starting to go back and start to kind of start thinking as you were going. I was walking with you because I was very familiar with Al Nazaria.
Yeah,
Very familiar. I
right.
can just smell it right now. To be honest with you, but
Gunpowder stays on you, man.
don't
Your
it
body
though?
remembers.
It's like the stench that
Your body
keeps
remembers
on keeps
everything.
on for
Yeah,
going, man. But then I'm looking, you going through all this, and I want the viewers to understand that you know you're deploying multiple times throughout this whole campaign. Am I correct?
yeah,
And then I'm looking, I'm saying, amidst the trials of war, I faced the heart wrenching news of my mother passing during my last tour. Man,
yeah.
um, wow, man. Hey, I'm gonna turn that loose to you because I know that is the last thing that you could have ever thought about would have
Yeah.
happened so close to coming home.
So, so my mother was born 1953, March 31st, and it was about March the 29th, 30th, and I called her and I was like, "Hey, old girl, I'm coming home April 8th, so we gonna drink a little bit." She smoked her cigarettes. I didn't smoke back then because I was in the military. I just didn't have that fancy. I said, "Man, but when I come home, we just gonna chill. We gonna cook. We gonna eat, have fun." And I said, "I'm gonna call you tomorrow." And she was like, "Yeah, boo." just call me. I got a little. I said, how you feeling? Cause you don't sound too good. She said, I don't feel too good. I got a little pain in my chest, but I'm just gonna take a pill like I normally do, and I'll just call. I'll just wait for your call tomorrow. I said, I'm gonna sing with this old crazy voice I got, right? Because every time, it's her birthday, I'm singing to her. I'm
Right.
her only child, So she was like, okay, just call me tomorrow. I made the phone call on her birthday, and the phone just never got answered. So back then I was in the green zone actually, and a Marine major that was my bunk mate at the time, my roommate. He said to me, he came over and he grabbed my shoulders from the back and he took my sidearm and he took my M4 away from me, and he's like, Mike, I've been here with you for about 6 months almost, so just take it easy. I'm gonna make the necessary phone calls. He knew what was gonna happen,
Wow.
because I was done at that point. Because
Yeah.
you got to think about it. The person that was really instrumental in your life. You know, Shout out to Jowdy, man, coming in from New Jersey. Appreciate you
That's what's
coming
up.
in, sweetheart.
That's what's good.
You think about this, that this woman nurtured you and raised you and have done every single thing possible that she can for you. She told me once, she's like, if we walk in and somebody said one of us gotta die, I'll just take the bullet, boo. I don't care because I've lived my life. So it was that type of deal that we were best friends instead of just mother and child. So that right there, man, it really sent me into a really, really dark spiral downhill. And when I say dark, I'm talking about I wake up like, why is this bulb so bright? Everything
Uh-huh.
bothered me. I
Wow.
wanted somebody to flip me off so I could shoot them with a new Glock or whatever that I bought. I didn't care about anything in the world. It just did that to me. It triggered me so bad that this is my last deployment. And why? You know, I question God, like, why did you have to take her from me? There's other people out there doing terrible things to kids, and you pick the one person that really, really took their time to say, what, let me wipe your boogers, let me clean your
Yeah.
butt when you're a kid. Let me take you to school. Let me not eat when there's a little bit of food so I can let you eat. So that right there sent me into a terrible spiral, man. And I think that's the biggest thing right now with PTSD that really sits with me still, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say losing a buddy or a battle buddy at war.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a big thing,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a certain closeness with your parents
Yeah.
that you have other than a battle buddy,
Yeah.
because he has parents or she has
Yeah.
parents,
Yeah.
but why my mother have to die? You
Right.
know, that was my biggest question. Like, why?
Yeah.
I didn't care. I mean, days after that, I prayed so hard,
Mm-hmm.
Big Sarge, man. I think my knees was black. I mean, blacker than
Yeah.
black.
I can
I ain't the
imagine. I
darkest
can
brother, but it
imagine.
was black.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
man, God, I said, take my right arm, man. Give me 5 minutes with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want. I wanted to say goodbye and I couldn't because I wasn't here. And she actually died downstairs in this house.
Wow.
So
Wow.
but she died in her sleep. She went peacefully. So I was okay with that. But I still am not okay to this day with the fact that she died at 62 years old on her birthday.
Really, really, really young.
Yeah,
Really young.
very young. Very young.
So when you okay, so they told you this. Obviously, it was a couple days before returning back to Conus, and Conus is continental United States. Uh, so you get home now. Uh, is anybody with you to help you? Because obviously you're preparing for a funeral, and
Right.
you're dealing with coming and leaving war, and then you're dealing with now having to bury your mother, your best friend. Is that safe to say? Your best friend?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Was it anybody helping you to navigate through this? Whether it was a
So
minister, whether it's the military?
yeah. So when I deployed on the last deployment, it was a 12 person team that went.
Hmm.
A small little team, and those who are in the military know what that means. We're out there, we're just getting stuff done and we getting back in. So the general at the time, he said, "Hey, put Chief McKoy on my helicopter." And
Mhm.
I go to come back from Iraq is like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, it
I
takes a
was,
minute. It's boats, trains, automobiles. Yeah, it takes a minute.
right.
Yeah.
I was back in Konos in 3 days. They flew me to Qatar, and then
Hmm.
they from Qatar, I jumped on Qatar Airways in my uniform and everything. Of course, I left my sidearm and my long gun back there. All
Hmm.
my stuff, my tough boxes. They just wanted to get me home. So by the time I came back home, man, my family had already taken care of um, the family, the arrangements. We were just waiting on death certificates. Also, my guy who's in the chat group now, Ali G Code Photography.
Hmm.
That's Christopher Harris. He's a retired first sergeant also. That's my
Shout
best.
out First Sergeant.
Yeah, that's my best
Hmm.
friend, man. He was there. I mean, at the funeral, he was at the head, walking with moms in with me because that was her other son too. He
Hmm.
literally lives 2 blocks up the road from me.
Oh
You
wow.
know, we
Yeah.
I think he just bought a house because we just tight together.
That's what's up.
So he helped out tremendously as a friend. Of course, my family, my godmother that's down in South Florida, everybody helped out. The military, the general said, "Hey, as long as you need Mike, you're with our detachment still for the next 30 days." Because I was still assigned to the Pentagon back then.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
was just doing, what they call a YS tour. We were doing it as an individual
Yeah.
deployment. Let's just put
Yeah.
it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so the general actually just gave me 30 days of leave, which wasn't even counted against me. He was like,
Kind of. We used to call it basket leave.
"Yeah, you
Yeah.
know."
Just let you handle
So
what you
I
need to
took the
handle.
time, finally got the funeral done and everything, and to this day, on mom's birthday, Chris, First Sergeant Harris, he'll
Hmm.
he'll make sure he called me. A couple of my boys, Jokey from Columbia Rare Breed,
Yeah.
Flacco will hit me up. Yo, you
That's what's
good?
up.
You all right? Some of my friends who know what I'm going through, and they just call me, man. Which we talk about in the book later on, that you need that
Hmm.
support. I
Hmm.
know we ain't at that chapter yet, but we gonna get there. But
Yeah.
yeah, the support was
Yeah.
real. Friends and family was there for me.
I'm glad to hear it because now I'm finna really hit you with it. From restless nights haunted by vivid nightmares to moments of heightened vigilance ingrained by the realities of combat, my journey post military service has been shaped by echoes of war. That that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. Let's speak
So
on it if you don't mind.
so so I didn't put in the book that I was deployed in support of Bosnia Herzegovina back in 95, 96 time frame.
And that was a mess in itself too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to go all the way down, but they stopped me in a place called Tezar, Hungary, which was the initial staging base. So we get everybody in, we account for them, and we send them where they need to go. That was only 3 months, but that I didn't deal with any bombs or anything then. But once I start going to the Middle East, Iraq, one time in Afghanistan, Iraq again, you get that passion for war now. I survived the first time, so I'm ready to go back and take revenge on, the brothers that died or the sisters that died, or take revenge for my mom because this shit wouldn't have happened if I was at home.
Yeah.
That's where the counseling comes in because you got to get unstuck from that feeling of
Yeah,
survival
you
guilt.
do. Yeah, you do. That's a highway to nothing but
Yeah.
extreme misery. That's a highway to the court martials as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Revenge is
for sure.
definitely not what
Yeah,
you want in the op
no,
order.
it dang sure isn't. So okay, so now okay, let's go. So okay, we're dealing with what we got to deal with the loss of your mother. You're back. You're trying to figure things out. You do got a good support system put in
Yes.
place. Okay, so at this point, Now what? Do we even know we have PTSD at this point, or we still just mad at the world and we're just trying
So,
to kind of navigate this thing?
so we're mad at the world, and we're really trying to navigate, like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I always upset? Why am I pissed off because the wind is blowing? Why do I wake up crying in my sleep? And I think the part that got me was, and I didn't put this in the book, but I woke up one night, and it was a Friday night, probably maybe Saturday morning early, probably about 1, 2 o'clock, and I picked up my gun and walked downstairs, came back upstairs. So Saturday morning, I had a conversation with the family, and my wife said, "Hey, you got up last night? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, you picked up the gun and you went downstairs. I don't know what you did, but you went downstairs. You was on the camera and everything, and you came back up. You sat on the bed. You took a deep breath. You put the gun down, and you went back to sleep. So
Wow.
right at that point, I said, because I was still upset. I'm like, okay, first off, you telling stories, because I know
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go downstairs
Mm-hmm.
until I saw the camera, and I was like, so why didn't you stop me? If you see me doing this, why didn't? And she was terrified. She said, I didn't want to say something and scare you, and then you
Scare you,
turn around and
yeah.
shoot. You're gonna double tap two in the chest, one in the head. That's how we train to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, I said, you know what, man? I got too much people in this house. My grandson comes here a lot. My daughter comes here a lot from Atlanta. I don't want to hurt anybody in my family because I couldn't live with it. I already can't live with the fact that my mom passed away. So how can I live with hurting a family member?
Wow.
And that was the biggest thing that I realized that I needed help. And I took the day off right there, and I said, hey, I went over to the VA, and I said, man, I need some help. And the first thing the doctor says, do you own weapons? And I said, yes. And he said, well, we're going to come and take them. So the anger built up again. And I said, nope. My Second Amendment right says I have the right to bear arms. And if you or anybody come to my house, I'm shooting, because now you're trespassing. I came
Wow.
for help. I didn't come here to give up my weapons, but my weapons are locked up. They are
Mm-hmm.
secured. And that kind of gave him some ease of mind, like, okay, let me work with this guy, because he's already saying I'm coming in. Because you see some of these mass shootings right now, Big Sarge,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
first thing they say is this guy has mental illness.
Illness, right?
They diagnose this person, and it could be a myriad of things. It could be schizophrenia. It could be, this guy got cancer. It could be he was abused, or she was abused, or whatever the
Right.
case might be. But they just say mental illness because that's the fad now. Everybody's claiming mental illness.
Oh yeah, yeah. It
You know,
gets,
and
yeah.
for those of us who suffer, for me, I can only speak for me. I don't like that, because you can't just shoot up 20 kids and then say, "Oh, I had PTSD."
Yeah.
But you lived in a mansion with your
Mm-hmm.
family and your PlayStation and whatever you needed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying they can't have it, but it just seems weird, like it's not the same, I should say.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion. Don't nobody gotta drag me about that. It's just my
Mm-hmm.
opinion on how I feel about it,
Mm-hmm.
because we got guys and gals that come home from war with arms and legs missing, half of their
Yeah.
heads
They're
torn
dealing.
off.
Yeah, that really is dealing with some
and,
some
and,
some
and we're
serious life.
fighting for the VA to
Yeah.
take care of them. And
Yeah.
what else do you want us to do to get taken care of? Fortunately for me and you, we came home and we still got our arms and legs, and
Right.
we can do interviews like this so that we can try to educate our friends,
Mm-hmm.
and our family about, hey, look for the triggers,
Mm-hmm.
look for those 1,000-yard stares. Me
Yeah.
starting to give away all my stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why would I give away my motorcycle? That's like sacrilege.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. Yeah,
You
if
know,
Sarge give away his motorcycle, man, y'all better please call and check on me, man.
right,
Please check on me because
right.
I'm in trouble. So let's okay. So now we're at the stage now. We've decided to get ourselves checked out. So now
Yeah,
a professional has us in his care, and he's going through. I'm assuming a battery of tests to properly diagnose because there are tests for this PTSD. It's not
yes,
boom, look it up in the dictionary, then you got it. No, there's a battery of tests
right,
that are being taken. So
right.
at this point, I'm assuming at this point now he has you on, maybe counseling,
Yes,
certain exercises you are doing, and
yeah,
maybe prescription medications to
right.
help deal with the
So,
issue.
uh, so yes, I was in a group counseling first,
Hmm.
which didn't work out because I'm a combat support guy. I'm not a frontline guy. So the guy who, excuse me, unfortunately, the Marine who was over there who said, "You didn't do shit because you weren't on the front line with us." And I stood up, he stood up, and you know, we
Oh
almost
boy.
got into it
Oh
because
boy.
it doesn't matter where you're at
Sure
war.
isn't.
You
Sure
can
isn't.
suffer PTSD just by being there. You don't know what I went through. I don't know. It's just like I don't know his story and he doesn't know my story. But we're
Hmm.
all a part of the same team, which is the services of the United States that we swore our allegiance to, serve and protect and defend the Constitution of this great nation.
Right.
Whether there's racism or not involved, guess what? That is our obligation. So we shouldn't be fighting. But at that point, if a man tests you in front of everybody, you're not gonna back down.
He didn't put you out
So
there.
I showed him that as as combat service support, I can hold my own.
Hmm.
And of course, they kicked me out of the program. So because I put my hands on
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
patient,
Yeah.
so now I got to go to single counseling, and they put me on more medication. So now I'm taking 16 pills a day, just chomping at the bit, and I'm taking one medication for to be calm, a heavy dose because I'm already amped up. I'm Jamaican, so I'm already aggressive.
Hmm.
Then I'm taking one to sleep. I'm taking one to just have a clear conscience. I'm taking one for side effects of the other one, and so forth for pain and everything else. So a concoction of 60 medication that none of them worked.
Yikes.
You talking about side effects from vertigo, bloody nose, ringing in your ears, fainting. It's called syncope. It's
Hmm.
unexplainable fainting spells. I had four of those. It's just a myriad of side effects that I think big pharmacy makes a lot of money on veterans because we're just the pill factory and we're the guinea
Hmm.
pigs that they give it to.
Hmm.
So I opted later on well, like I said, I was in single counseling now.
Hmm.
So I opted for a single, I found this one counselor and I sat down with her, and the first thing she said was, "Okay, so we got an hour, so let's get to it." And I said, "I don't want to talk to you." And she was like, "Excuse me, why?" And I was like, "Because you have me on a time limit.
Hmm.
If you look at me as just a number, I don't want to be here." So they said, "Okay, we're gonna send you back to group therapy." And I was like, "Y'all don't want to do that. You're gonna put me on the sixth floor in a padded room if you send me back there." So because I'm, HR and I know how to write, I wrote the director of the VA.
Hmm.
And I said, "I want somebody to take care of me who doesn't treat me as a number, or else I'm gonna go to CNN with this." I
Wow.
threatened them. I didn't want to, but I was hurting. I wanted help.
Hmm.
A lot of people they look at I'm 6'2", 235 pounds on a good day. I got 70% of my body tattooed. So I look angry already at everybody. When they look at me, some people say I look unapproachable.
Hmm.
And I'm like, if you get to know me, that's not me. But I was screaming for help. Sometimes I may have done it the wrong way because I'm agitated. I'm still dealing with the pills and everything. So the director hit me up and they said, okay, we got this one person. So I found a counselor, Gina Delegati. I think she's retired now, but we still talk. And it took me a little bit for us to start getting getting gelling together. But she literally saved my life. I mean, literally saved my life. I invited her to my retirement ceremony. She said she didn't want to get, any recognition. But when I spoke about her, I looked over there and she broke down. So the patient, I call her my doc. She's not a doctor, but I call her doc. The
Hmm.
patient doctor relationship was very close, and I don't think that she meant it to get that close,
Hmm.
but because she knew that I had potential after PTSD with cognitive therapy, cognitive therapy behavior, um, you know, um, practices, holistic stuff, getting acupuncture or drinking herbal tea to go to sleep instead of taking all these concoctions. She
Hmm.
believed in me. If I didn't come to a counseling, she'd text me, "Hey, you need to come in right now."
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Okay." That's the only person I would listen to because my
So,
mom was gone. I don't want to listen to nobody else.
wow. Okay. So doing because I definitely want to talk about the holistic
Hmm?
medicines. Uh, so hold pause that one. Okay.
Yeah,
So when you're going through the therapy, and obviously it was kind of back and forth. They wanted to do group therapy, then they end up having
yeah.
to do individual therapy. Then they got you on a gazillion meds. 16 meds. Um, were you? Was there? Okay. Did they send you back again? Did they deploy you back again after a short period
No,
of time?
after that, after 2015, I didn't deploy. I
Okay.
retired in 2018.
Okay. So all
Right.
the deployments were
Yeah,
over.
all
So
the deployments were over. So at 2018, I retired. I was getting help from 2015 though, upwards to 2018, and
okay, I
then I
got you.
retired. Then I
I
started
got
dealing
you.
with the VA full time.
And I got you. And the young lady that you speak about, forgive me the name that you just said. Uh,
Yeah, Gina Delegati.
okay, Gina Delegati. Okay, was she the one? Was she a therapist? Did she introduce you to the holistic medicine or?
No, she was more of the cognitive behavior therapy. So she
Okay,
did the one with the pencils where you do the circles and
okay,
you put your mom's name in the middle and you say, "Did you kill her?" No. So you take that away. Could you have
okay,
stopped it? No, you take it away. So that's called getting unstuck. So it
okay.
takes away the survivor's guilt from you. And you can do that with anything. It's just another form of therapy that actually helps you. But
Mm-hmm.
she was sticking to that regime with me. She pushed me to the edge a lot because you have to face these fears that you don't want to talk about to people. You got to face the pain. That was them four walls was my space where I could cry and not worry about people teasing me.
Right.
Because it happens in the military where you go to sick call. Marine Corps, y'all don't like going to sick call because y'all are broke if you go to sick call.
Man, I tell you what,
You
they had all kind of nicknames for you. Sick
Right.
Bay Commando.
They talk
Yeah,
trash, and
yeah,
trash
they
talking
did.
gets to you.
Yeah, yeah.
And
We had
because you're
to.
suffering from PTSD, guess what? Now your anger is now from
Yeah,
100 to
yeah,
1,000, and you may end up killing somebody because you can't take the dozens or whatever they call the
right, right,
crap
right.
talking or whatever.
Yeah,
So a lot of people don't want to talk about this because
for sure.
we fear, rejection from our friends or our family.
Hmm.
People told me in my family that I'm crazy. You
Yeah,
went to war and came back crazy, and I'm like, I'm not crazy.
yeah.
I'm just a little bit off, but I'm not crazy.
And I can imagine, as a chief warrant officer four, which by the way, for us who've served in the military, we understand that it's very difficult to make chief warrant officer four. A
Yeah,
lot of people. At one time, I'd probably say, I don't know about the Army because y'all were bigger than the Marine Corps, but I would say probably, 1%, 2% of the Army would make Chief Warrant Officer four.
yeah, It's
It's not
about
many.
three. It's about three now, and then W5 is 1%. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I
So
remember when they brought that in existence in the Marine Corps.
yeah.
So, so with that being said, I do understand where you might want to, okay, man, I need to hold on to this. I don't need nobody to know this because I
Right.
have a status, I have a stature
Right.
in the army, and I don't want to look weak, or I don't want anybody to, um, you got a status that you got to hold up to, and
So before I retired, and let me allude to what you're saying. Before I retired, I was working at the Pentagon,
hmm
um, under actually General Odierno, you
hmm
know, and I worked a special program for him with Afghanistan and Pakistan. And imagine me going there and telling them, "Hey, man, I can't function because I get nightmares, and
yeah,
I got blurry vision." They'll be like, "Man, get out of here, dude.
for
Who,
sure,
what are you doing here?"
yeah,
Because any little flaw, any little chink in your armor, they're gonna get rid of you because they feel like, okay, he's disabled, he can't handle the
hmm
job.
hmm
So you are discriminated against,
yeah.
which you shouldn't be, but it happens.
It's either you go, no go. If
Yeah,
if if you
basically,
if
there's
you
no in between.
Yeah, if you pause with the go,
Yeah,
you no go. Yeah,
yeah,
we unfortunately had and I'm saying these are my words, not yours. We had this campaign in the Marine Corps over the years of my career. It was called. It said, "Pain is weakness leaving the body." I think that was an awful slogan because we really, really believed in it. Pain is your body telling you something is not right.
yeah,
We
definitely.
understand that there's going to be pain, but we don't. We, when you start getting into the situation where you say, I'm gonna keep ignoring the pain, whether it's mental or physical. We're That's gonna lead to being combat ineffective. I promise you that. And then we're gonna have people going off the rail and doing things that they shouldn't be doing, or doing things that should not be, what's not in the script. So
Right.
I'll leave that there so we can stay politically correct on that side. Is that cool?
Oh yeah, yeah, we good with
Okay.
that.
So I'm looking at now. I'm saying I'm reading. Healing is from PTSD requires a comprehensive understanding of the interconnectedness between mind and body. The body keeps the score.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So the body keeps a score. It means that, okay, so let me give you a different analogy now. Everybody knew of the game where Michael Jordan scored 60 points, right? 60 or 62 or something like that. Everybody know the flu game where he played with the flu
Yes,
and
the
Scotty
Utah
Pippen
Jazz. Well, of
had
course.
to,
Yeah.
bring him off the court.
Right.
Your mind remembers these traumas. It's the same way how we remember something significant in our life. You remember your wedding date, or you remember when your child was born. Your body remembers these traumas that you go through. And that's why when you go out with your friends and your family and you hear one person say, "Hey, I need to sit down on that side of the table because I can't sit with my back to the door," or you hear a motorcycle, you know backfire, and you ducking, you looking for cover because you think it's a bullet,
Done it
or a
before.
door gets slammed, or you hear a baby crying because you saw a baby burning in Iraq, and it triggers you. So your body remembers all of those scores, basically, quote unquote, that you have been through, and it brings it right back up. And if you don't have the awareness to say, let me do something else to take my mind off of this, then you're going to spiral back downwards. And that's where the counseling comes in, because at night, when I get a nightmare nowadays, which is sometimes is very frequent, I got this golf game that I play, because you got to hold you got to hold the golf club steady to make a putt or something. So my
hmm
mind now transitions from that trigger onto the golf game. I still don't go back to sleep because I'm fearing what I'm going to see when I go to sleep. Am I going to be in a room bloodied up with full of blood and guts and gory? Or am I going to be seeing me getting shot again, or me getting ran over by a tank or something that I saw down there? So I don't go back to sleep. So I go through the whole day with sleep deprivation from 2 a.m. and I'm doing, my photography, my clothing line. I got to be a president of the motorcycle club dealing with those issues. I got to be a wife. I got to be a father, and I got to be a grandfather. And I got to be a good friend to all of my good friends that really appreciate me out there. All of my responsibilities I
That's
still
life.
have to
Yeah.
do in a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
And if you don't get that REM sleep that they talk about, you are
Mhm.
pretty much screwed. I get about 3 to 4 hours a night right now. And
So
some might say that's a lot, but it's not deep sleep. But I still gotta
is
function.
that something that your counselors teach you? Say, okay,
Yes,
okay, the medicine is going to take you so far. It's only going to
yes,
take you so far.
yes.
Now you have to work out and figure out how do you deal with maybe it's fishing, maybe
Right,
it's riding your motorcycle, maybe it's like you said playing the golf game. I know me personally myself, and trust and believe this is not about me at all,
right.
but what I do, I finally get to a point sometimes where uh, I get so mentally drained that I have to just check out, go take a nap. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
if I'm getting ready to go to work. I have to just stop, turn around, and go home, and I have to just lay down
yes,
because at that point, and that's my trigger to say you have to do this because anything after that, it might not lead the way you want to. And let's be honest, society is not going to give you, oh, that's okay. We
no,
understood you. No, sir.
no.
No,
Society,
sir. They're
society
going to
doesn't
hold
give
you.
you a attaboy, or they don't give you a alibi coin. They say, let me redo that. They're gonna
Yeah.
gouge your eyes out
You,
if you're
you're going
not
to deal with
doing
it.
what you're supposed to do.
You're going to be held accountable for it.
Oh yeah, oh
So,
yeah.
so
Um,
I,
I
no,
think
go ahead.
for
I'm
me
sorry, bro.
sometimes though, because I smoke cigars now, that helps me to calm down. Because my doctor, my cardiologist said, "Why do you smoke?" And I'm like, "Well, cigars help me to calm down, and I don't actually, I don't actually need medication. I use the cigars to calm down." Which, and she's like, "Well, it's a catch-22 because you can get cancer from smoking cigars." I was like, you know what, man? I'm gonna just take my chance because honestly,
Yeah.
it's damned if you do, damned if you
And if you
don't. But
don't,
16 pills versus a one cigar, I'll take the one cigar. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? And that's just my opinion.
Hmm.
But you do have to uh find a space where you can have serenity to
Yeah.
clear your head.
Yeah.
Sometimes, my family just throw me the bike keys and say, "Hey, go to Fort Myers and come back. It's 4 hours total. Go get you a nice ride in. Go hang out with your VP. Go chill at Cigar International, and I'll see you later on." Because guess what? You're not doing what we talked about because we still
Yeah.
are stubborn. We still are stubborn. So it's more like, damn, I got a bad day today. Let me just go out back and chill for about 2 hours, and then I'll come in and do my usual vocations, dinner, talk with everybody, check on dad, check on wife, whatever. But it's a groundhog day, but you're in charge of mitigating your stressors.
For sure, definitely. So body oriented therapies. What is that?
So body oriented therapy is like I said, you can do art, you can do photography, you can
Okay.
you can go dance, whatever you want to do. You can go ride your motorcycle, whatever you want to do, but that doesn't deal with doctrine from a medical standpoint.
Hmm.
So you create these things so that you can actually things that you like doing. So it's not forced upon you. Because if you tell me go play badminton, I'm gonna be like, bro, I ain't finna play no badminton.
Bad.
You know,
I even
I'm not doing that.
that. No, I'm not
That's
doing all that.
dumb. I don't want to do that. If you tell me, hey, go swimming, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But if you say, hey, Mike, you like riding your motorcycle, so guess what? Here go your keys. I'll be like, hey, I'll be at Iron Elite on February 3rd with Big Sergeant them plug. You like what I
There it
did right
is.
there,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, and if you a
But
ground pounder, you better be there too.
but it's one of the things that we do. You got to do something that you like. Shout out to my guy, Coach, man. He's in my chapter, Clyde Randolph. He's
Okay.
a retired gunny sergeant too. He plays golf on his time.
That's what's
Fully
happening. What's
retired.
up, Gunny? Hey,
Yeah,
what's up?
so good guy, man. Love him to death. But
I
yeah, you
see.
gotta find what you love doing because yeah, I got 9 guns in the house. But do I want to go to the range after I got triggered to hear more
No,
gunshots that's gonna trigger
absolutely
me
not.
more?
Absolutely
Exactly.
not.
So,
Yeah.
you do something that, like I say, it can mitigate the stressors so that you can be a better person that you were 5 minutes ago or yesterday or whatever the case might be.
Awesome. I see you say the fight against the traumas of war requires focus and preparation for both good and bad days that lie ahead. By incorporating body oriented therapies into the healing process, there's an intentional effort to listen to the body cues, fostering a deeper understanding of the response of training. If you don't mind, can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by that?
So so PTSD stressors, you don't just get them all the time. It's not just a way up you on 100 all day long. They ebb and they flow. So it's a roller coaster ride that one minute you could be real happy and then you see somebody like when I go to DC, I got to be real careful because there's a lot of women who wear the hijab up there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the guys they wear the man dress still. I don't know
For
if it's
sure.
called a man dress. Excuse me if I'm
Uh,
calling it the wrong thing,
we
but
we
I,
gonna
I just
we're gonna
don't know.
call it a robe. We'll just call it some type
Right,
of
a
robe.
robe.
Yeah.
The guys that wear the
Mm-hmm.
robe, and you get triggered because maybe some guy down there pulled an AK-47 from under his robe and fired at you. So I gotta be careful when I deal with DC and just anything could be a trigger. So you got your body and your mind got to be in tune. Like, hey, you know what? Let me go this way. And if you do get triggered again, those body creativity therapies come in where you can say, man, let me sit down on this train and look at this video, or let me, let me go running if that's what you do, but you should know your your triggers and what you can do, what can help you. Because guess what, Big Sarge? Nobody knows you better than
Then
you.
you. Yeah,
And
that's
the
true.
only way you're gonna get help is if you want it.
That's
Because I
true.
can't say, Big Sarge, you need to go. Because as a man, I can't tell you what
Mm-hmm.
to do and expect that
Mm-hmm.
you really gonna do it.
Yeah.
So you
Cause
have to want it. Therapy is for those who want it, not for those who necessarily need it.
like that. Like that. I like that a lot because you're right. If you don't think you want it or need it, you're not going to receive it. It's
Yeah.
a waste of time.
And you're
Yeah.
not gonna make it either.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can make it, but it's gonna be very hard for you. Because I've been there. I've seen that little, in the cartoons where you got the good angel and the bad angel.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
bad angel came over and
Yeah.
kicked the good angel off and said,
Yeah.
"Hey man, just go that pretty lake in the
Yeah.
back. Just go walk in it,
Yeah.
bro. You don't need to be
Cause
here."
sound like you fought it for a while now.
Oh
You
yeah,
fought it for a
I still
while.
fight it
Yeah.
today. I
And I
still
know
fight it today.
especially black men. I know there's people of different races on this podcast
Yes,
this morning, but black men, we got this sense of pride, man. We don't want people to know our business. We want
exactly.
to fix and deal everything. But
But that's what we're taught.
yeah, that's what
We're
we're
taught
taught.
that.
That's what
Grandma
we're
used to
taught.
say, "You don't want nobody know your business. Keep it behind closed doors."
There it is, which is the worst thing that you can do
Well,
sometimes,
at
man.
the same time, grandma was only going off of what she knew because maybe
Right,
her mother or her grandmother that was a slave was saying, "Hey, we can't talk too loud because
right,
master might hear what the plan is."
right,
So
right.
it's the generational cycle that comes along, and moms is saying, "Hey, you don't need to put your business out there. Everybody don't need to know that you sick. You're gonna
Mm-hmm,
lose that job at the Pentagon or whatever the case might be."
mm-hmm,
So we want to be validated by our parents and our
right.
friends. So what we do, we say, you know what? Let me just smile
Mm-hmm.
and just everything is cool because
Yeah,
everybody know Pablo. He always smiling, he cool and everything. Boom, boom, boom. But then deep down, when I come home, I'm like, damn. Now you're really tired. You're
mm-hmm,
exhausted emotionally because you're fighting this thing because now you're living two lives, Sarge.
mm-hmm.
One minute I'm calling you, hey Sarge, we finna ride the I-10 to the end experience, man. I'm gonna see you out there, bro. And then on the I-10 to the end experience, I'm like, shit, I don't need to
Mm-hmm.
be here. They
Yeah,
go a desert. If I just go right behind that rock with this Glock I got on me, man,
yeah,
nobody can find me for a couple of
yeah.
days. But that's how it works.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we got to talk about the good and the bad.
Oh yeah,
I've
yeah.
been there. Like I'm telling you, I've been there, man, and it ain't fun.
Well, let me ask you a question then. Okay, okay. Here we go. It must have been tough on your family trying to help you navigate something that you really didn't even understand, and them to still keep their sanity while doing it. If you don't mind, can you just touch lightly? Was it a deal where the family had to also get coaching to learn how to do and help you?
So yes, um, after a while, so my wife is a retired sergeant major, right? And you would think that as a retired sergeant major, she knows all of this stuff. No,
Hmm.
because sometimes your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, whichever one you have, um, they don't want to see you like this. They
Right.
don't want to see you sad. They don't want to see you crying. So guess what they do? They just say, "I'm gonna turn a blind eye to it and do something else that make him happy."
Right.
Let's go watch Dumb and Dumber. Let's go
Yeah.
watch whatever.
Major
Let's
pain.
go to
Yeah.
let's
Let's
go to
talk.
cigar
Yeah. Yeah.
lounge. So they pacify you
Hmm.
so that you're in a state of happiness, but it only lasts for a couple of hours. Then you back with the BS. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Basically. So what happened was my spouse, her friend was telling her a long time, like, look, you need to go with him.
Hmm.
So she came to counseling with me. She came to counseling with me. And then
Awesome.
now she's like, holy moly, I missed out on so much.
Yeah.
And she was apologetic, like, man, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have.
Hmm.
And I'm like, no, you didn't know.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to see me like this. So I get it, but I'm not faulting you because I hid it from you for years by telling you I'm okay. But I'm in a place now where I can be like, I'm not okay today, man. I had a bad day. I'm just gonna go on a patio and hit me a smoke real quick. Or
Hmm.
I'm gonna go ride up and go see Retro, or go see Big Sarge, man, or whatever the case, or whoever.
Hmm.
I just need some time. And she's like, all right, go. Just let me know when you get there, or whatever the case might be. So now
That's what's up.
she knows it.
I'm sorry. I can't even imagine trying to deal with this when you don't understand it either. Man, I
Right.
think you said a mouthful with her going to the counseling with you to give her tools now
Yes.
that she can be effective. Because you're right. Because when we don't know, we just okay. Let's put a band-aid on a sunken chest wound,
Right.
and me and you
So
both know that ain't gonna work.
so that's what my mother was doing because she didn't know about. It's like old people when you said, "Man, grandma, my stomach hurt," and she said, "Boy, you only got them gas. You ain't nothing wrong with you, but
Go
your
take some
appendicitis
casserole.
might be busted." You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, for
so,
sure.
older people they just don't understand because PTSD wasn't mentioned back then.
Hmm.
It was taboo. Everybody was like, and Chris knows, that's Chris, my man, Allergy Code. He
Okay.
know my mom
Okay.
because
Okay.
that's what she would tell us, like, boy, go sit down, man.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of gas. You
Yeah.
good. But she tried to do as best as she can from a mother's perspective while she was alive to say, I'm gonna do everything to take care of my baby until he expires or I expire because she knew I wasn't gonna leave the military. That's what I
Right.
love doing. I love taking care of people. I love making sure that whoever stamped my passport to give me a better life here in America, you know, I want to pay them back.
Yeah.
That's why I signed that blank check to say, hey, it's a volunteer force, but I'm gonna go in and I'm about to, I told her I was coming back home in 5 years, but 26 years
Hey,
later,
give it take it 20 years. Yeah.
you know,
Wow. So I tell you what, let's as we're rounding this in the home, let's talk about because I think we've covered navigating the landscape of healing and coping
yeah,
and coping strategies for. Let's bring this in home. After this is all said and done, after this interview is all said and done, what are some key things that you want to leave us with? What do you want to tell not only veterans, veterans families, anybody who has a family member that might have had any type of PTSD scenario, whether it be um, maybe molesting as a kid or a dysfunctional family
Right.
coming up or anything, what would you tell a person that's dealing with this type of stuff to start at?
So the first thing that you want to know is exactly what PTSD is, because you can't really get a solution for something if you don't know what it is. So once you identify that you're suffering from a past trauma, you can say 60 or 70% that you are suffering from some kind of PTSD stressors. The next thing that you want to do is you want to get into coping strategies, whether it's counseling, and from counseling, it creates resiliency. Now, resilience just mean, you know, you just adapt into your scenario or whatever actions are happening, and you trying your best to be calm around all of that stuff. In a nutshell, that's what resilience is. Just staying calm, even though you're going through the worst day possible.
Right.
Instead of the whole, medical definition of it, or doctrine and all that mess. Um, Another thing is seek help. Ask for it. Closed mouth don't get fed. If you feel like you're gonna hurt yourself, go tell your best friend. If that person really is your best friend, they're gonna help you. But make sure it's your best friend. Don't
Yeah.
go talk to Nuck Nuck from over Third Ward that be like, no man, let's just go drink some liquor,
There,
dog.
there, there it
Good.
is, bruh.
That ain't gonna happen, bro.
Hey,
You gotta
stupid people
know,
give stupid people
you gotta know
advice,
your
man.
audience.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? You gotta know your audience.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, I think the last thing is just sustaining the journey of being of healing. Like chapter 6 says, you got to sustain the
Mhm.
journey of healing. Um, Keep it going, man. The, the,
Does
the best thing
PTSD ever
about
stop?
Go ahead,
Does PTSD ever stop?
it never stops. It never stops. You always have to mitigate some kind of stressors,
Hmm.
and when you take care of it, or I like the word mitigate, because
Hmm.
you can deflect a stressor. It won't go away, but you know how to handle it the next time. And that right there just makes you a better person tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how to handle this part now. Now I know how to handle my mother's death. Now I
Yeah.
know how to handle when the doctor says to me, "Hey, chief, we found some white particles in your lungs, and you were exposed to depleted uranium. We got to test you for lung cancer." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"What? I
Yeah.
thought you would test me for lung cancer because of these cigars, but not no tank."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got to learn not to just, people say flare up a lot. They say flare up because they don't know how to term what you're doing. They don't want to say crazy because we live in a society now where you got to tiptoe how you say things to people,
Right.
because now you're offending everybody. So I think that just sustaining your journey of healing is what you should do. And healing for you might be different than me. You might like taking pills. I just go the holistic route where I drink herbal teas for sleep. I drink herbal teas to calm down, stuff like that. And I do acupuncture. Um, I do Botox for my TBI, because that goes away every 4 months.
I see this in it, Mike. You got the three circle tier where you got the body, the mind, the spirit. Man, I hate to do this to you, man. Let's go back over that again.
No,
Let's
we
talk about
good.
that, man, if you don't mind.
We good. So
And break them down for us, if you don't mind.
so for me, body, mind, spirit in layman's term is, one, you got to take care of your body, as far as staying healthy. So many times we see our brothers and sisters, even on the motorcycle set, since we here, and you might not see them until next year, but
Hmm.
but you see their shoulders got a little broader and their stomach
Right.
got a little bigger. When COVID came, We lost a whole bunch of brothers and sisters out there because they were unhealthy.
Right.
They had underlying like diabetes or something else going on with them.
Hmm.
But just a change in your diet, maybe 2 or 3 degrees to the left or right, you got to sacrifice something if you want to gain something. Unfortunately, when I retired, I was diagnosed with something called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is an enlarged heart. So my tubes inside of my heart are getting squeezed together. So I have to go through therapy, some stuff right now with the VA, and they're helping me out very well. But I had to change my diet because I used to run the Gasparilla Marathon here every year.
Hmm.
I used to run like a horse. I used to play soccer, so I could run a lot. So I had
Right.
to change my diet. So I'm not telling anybody you got to give up your fried chicken.
Right.
You know what you got to do, but I gave up all of that. I don't eat meat anymore. I eat
Oh wow.
fish and
All right.
vegetables and
Yeah.
plant-based. So after 6 years of retirement, I'm about maybe 6 pounds away from when I was the ultimate fighting machine, in the military. And that helps with, the foods that I eat, and I don't go on these crazy diets to take, creatine and go lift 50 million pounds. No, you don't
Hmm.
have to do all of that. You know, the mind, we say body, mind, and spirit, right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
The mind, that's just dealing with the journey. Like I say, psychological responses to trauma. We have to mitigate those, meaning we have to take the counselors seriously. That's what they're trained to do. I heard this before years ago, and I never really fact checked it, but somebody said to me one time that Einstein said that the average human being only uses 7% of their brain. Imagine if they use 10%. I don't know if that's true or not, but imagine if that was really real.
Yeah.
Just three more
Yeah.
percent of your brain, and you could move mountains. But then again, somebody also said Einstein couldn't spell his name, but he was termed a genius. So who knows? But
Yeah.
my
Who
point
knows,
is,
man?
you
That's
have
what
to
Craig and
take
them
care
said
of it.
anyway.
Right. You have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
As far as the spiritual part, man, listen, if you ain't got God in your life, man, or let me rephrase that. If you don't have a supreme being in your life, because you might say God, Yahweh, Allah, whatever you call your creator,
Right.
talk to that individual. Now, if you're an atheist, I can't help you with that part. But you got to have some kind of spiritual. Everybody always talk about, hey, what's the ESP? How much you paying for ESP or who you got for insurance?
Hmm.
Geico, Progressive, who you got? You know, and I always ask them, do you have spiritual insurance?
Mm.
And retro gonna be like, Mike, we need to talk,
Yeah.
because
Speak.
we ain't
Speak.
past
That's
it,
what he's here for.
So you talk about spiritual insurance. That means, are you that faith of a mustard seed? Are you there? Do you have that? And if you can say you don't have it, then you might. It's this small. A mustard seed ain't big, but I tell you what. If we ride into California in June to Rare Breed event in California, guess what? We know every route. We
Hmm.
know every gas stop. We know where we can find the midgets at. We know where we can find whatever we want to find out there, right? But
Right.
we can't find that little mustard seed. Why? Why is it so hard to say, let me just have a little bit of faith in the person that actually allowed me to be here? That's between you and your creator, though.
True.
I can't tell you how to do that. But you have to have a spiritual side that you can fall back to and say, hey, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Because myself and you, Sarge, we could have been dead, bro.
For sure.
Remember, we had this conversation that when
Yeah,
you
we
were
did.
up north and we had to stop eating 3 meals a day
Yeah.
because y'all was running out of food, we sent our MREs up. So
Yeah.
you owe me a dinner when I see
Yeah,
it.
hey, bro. Hey, for the first time in my life, man, I was getting real skinny. Yeah, I owe you a 2 for 20 or something, man, at Applebee's or something,
Right?
man, because it was getting serious, bro.
Hey, just give me some of your fries, man. We good. Huh?
That part, it was getting real serious out there, man. But hey, man, but I'm gonna say this, man, because I know You got things to do. I know, we got these lives to get on, man. But and and I apologize because I was wrapping up, but at the same time, I'm saying, no, no, no. I want to cover a couple things in this thing, but I
Yeah.
want to bring it home, and we'll do it in conclusion. And again, we these are some things we do know. We do know that PTSD don't go away.
Yes.
We just learn how to deal with it.
Yes.
And you talked about that in as far as the tears. You talked about what body, spirit, and mind. Am I correct?
Yes.
We talked about holistic medicines.
Yes.
Whether you possibly use what acupuncture
Acupuncture,
that you use.
just herbal, teas, whatever.
Yeah.
If you need Botox for headaches, because
Yeah.
that comes with TBI, if you get in an accident and you bang your head up, whatnot. So there's
Hmm.
there's a lot of holistic measures that you can
Hmm.
take,
Hmm.
yoga, meditation, just simple stuff like that.
That part.
You can do it free on
Hmm.
YouTube, basic
Hmm.
yoga. You do it for 30 minutes every morning.
Facts. And we definitely want you to know that this book is coming from a military veteran or a war veteran. Again, PTSD does not have boundaries as far as military first responders. It can be from anybody who grew up with uh, 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 a tragedy that might have happened, a car wreck, or losing a loved one, or losing a mother, or losing a father. It could cover a lot of different things. But hopefully today, well, I know he did. Today, Mike made a lot of us a lot more educated on this particular uh, disorder or disease, whatever you want to call it. He made us a lot more educated. He's given us some tools in the book. I didn't give you jokers everything because I want y'all to buy this book, man. This book, he talks about, places in the VA that you can reach out to if you're a veteran. He gives you so many tools to start with. Again, his goal was not to make everybody a subject matter expert and say he
No.
knows it all. His goal was to give you something to start at. Am I correct, Mike?
Yes,
He,
exactly. I really think that me penning this book, it was very therapeutic for me. Hey, real quick, shout out to Black Queen, man. She's my West Coast sister
that's
from
what's
another
up.
mister. You know what I mean? She always support me, man, taking care of me, making sure I'm good when I'm riding, whatever.
Hmm.
That's a lovely woman right there. Um,
Well,
but
let's do this real quick then.
yeah,
Let's do this for her.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, let's
Clap it
give her
up.
a round of
Yeah,
applause. There we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sure,
do
sure,
that.
sure. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, like I was saying though, the book was very therapeutic for me. It took me 4 months, 5 months to write it, and it
Hmm.
was easier for me to write because it was my story. A lot of people they say, "Man, you took 4 months." Some people take a year or two to write a novel. Well, this is not a novel. I'm not making this up. I'm not
Right.
telling you about goons and goblins and wizards and magic swords and stuff. This is um, life. And that's all I'm trying to do, man, is help everybody here to take what they hear and say, hey, I've seen, Uncle Junebug, man. I know he went to Vietnam. Let me take him over to the VA, because a lot of those guys, they didn't have what we have now. Let me take my cousin. Let me take my son. He's not right. I have friends told me, man, you have changed, bro. You have changed. And I'm like, I ain't changed, but they see it. And when your friends and when your real friends tell you that, it's time for you to get help. And we want to see everybody in the next 24 hours. I know Kodak does his 22 push-ups.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know other people do what they think is right. And I'm not
Hmm.
knocking that. But for me, if you can touch everybody and say, hey, bro, I'm here for you. Hey, sis, I'm here for you. Do you need help? And even if they say no and you see that change, just tell them, hey, we're going to call somebody. We can call this crisis hotline and just talk to them. Just give them 5 minutes of your time. I'm gonna be here with you on the phone on speakerphone and show that person that you really care. And just instead of just saying, "Hey, big bro, I got you." AOG, I really get them. don't just say it, man. Your actions speak louder than words, because this is a life. Because right now, if we go out on the road and one of us passes away, we
Hmm.
become a hashtag or a GoFundMe stupid, link that they sent out.
Yeah.
But instead of us being a hashtag or a link, let's go and talk to people and say, hey, are you okay? I'm not talking text. Physically call them. Stop doing this 2024 shit and texting people. Call your
Hmm.
friends if they're really your friends and you see them with a problem, and say, hey, are you okay? I'm here for you, because I'm your friend. We should care about each other more and love each other. You know what I'm saying?
True words,
But
brother.
the book
True.
is out there. It's doing phenomenally well. I'm number 42 out of 100 in
Hey,
the,
we gonna change that, man. Might need to be
yeah,
number.
I
Yeah, we
appreciate
need to get
that.
him up there in the single digits, man. So, uh,
Yes.
hey, let me jump in real quick if you don't
Please,
mind.
please,
Hey,
please.
man, this book, we have to, as a motorcycle community, we have to get behind this, man, because this PTSD affects every one of us. Either you personally, either a family member, or either a friend, whether a club brother. This affects us all, man. I know most times, Sarge, we're just doing motorcycle stuff. Today, we're doing life stuff, man. Life stuff. We're doing things to try to make us better as a motorcycle community, man. The link is in the description on the banner right now. The link is all over my social media platforms, man. You got no excuse. Get that if you got Amazon Prime, they tell you 3 days. I got that book in 2 days, man. We're sitting on my door. We're also gonna have Mike. I'll let you do this at Iron Elite. What we doing? How we gonna do this,
Yeah,
man?
I'm gonna have a tent set up at Iron Elite. I'm gonna bring 50 books, y'all. I'm gonna bring only 50 books, and I'm gonna be signed. This is my first book signing event, and it's hosted by Big Sarge himself. So I feel really
That's what's
honored,
up.
man, wanting to be here and want to do this for you guys, and for myself. So I'm bringing 50 books up there at the Iron Elite. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be just doing a book signing event. You can come, you can take pictures, you can talk to me about whatever you want to talk to me about up there. Remember, I'm not a counselor, but I've been through a lot, right? So 50 books, you're going to get a signature with a note. The book is going to be for you. So I'll definitely write you a personal note. And yeah, I'll be up there, man.
Man, it's
Saturday, February the 3rd. Yeah,
third, man. As a matter of
definitely
fact,
be there.
like I said, man, get in. And don't wait to the last minute, man, to get your book, man. Go ahead and copy your book as fast as you can. Me personally, I ain't gonna lie, I done turned mine into a whole workbook, man. I got highlights and all kind of stuff on the book. I've read it a couple times. Most people I know have read it 2, 3 times, man, and just picking up little things from it. But in the book, again, I don't want to give it away, but he has all kind of things as far as tools that you can use, places, and he names where you can kind of step out to start seeking help, man. He's giving you everything. Let's do this, man. This is my goal, Mike. We want to I know the number you told me this morning.
Yeah.
We want to
Well, it
double
just
that,
went up
brother.
about 10. I just checked. We
Yeah.
over 200 in a week right now.
200 a week, man. It
Yeah.
is it is my goal for us to double that by the end of next week, man. So if you're
Appreciate
on
you.
this live feed, man, share that book. In every platform you want. We'll share all kind of other foolishness. We'll share flyers and
Right.
bike lights. Share something, man, that's gonna be
Fighting.
so
Yeah. We
much
hear
helpful.
everything else but the good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll share a silly meme, man. Oh, Cat Williams stuff, man. This
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
If we can share Cat Williams stuff, let's share this book, man, to make our motorcycle community a better community, man, for us, man. So, with that being said, Mike, man, I
Hey,
appreciate you, brother.
Big
Much
Sarge,
love.
let me jump in one last time, man, and I'm
Yes,
gonna
sir.
give you the torch to get us out of here.
Yes, sir.
Really want to say thank you to Low Key, man, for orchestrating this so that we can get on here, man, and connect us in a way that I think we're gonna have a great relationship from here on out, based on our stories behind the camera.
Low key is a
Thank
man.
you, Low Key. I really appreciate it, man. I really do. I appreciate everybody for coming in. Please share the link. Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. I think this show is going to be up on Big Sarge's YouTube.
Yes.
So
For
Sarge, I'm gonna turn it over to you, man, so you can
okay,
plug.
so really quick for the folks on StreamYard, I could not go public while I was in StreamYard, but I will be able, after the end of the show, I will be able to make it public so everybody can share the show on their individual pages. So no problem at all. I just couldn't do it on the StreamYard because I had all the 3 platforms going at one time. But right after this, on the Chris Houston page, it's going to be public. Of course, you can share it on YouTube. So no fear. We'll be able to get this out to as many people as humanly possible, man. So anything else, Mike, before we get out of here?
Hey, man, just love on each other, people. That's all I'm asking you, man. Love on each other so we can be here in the next 24 hours.
There it is. Well said. Hey, man, enjoy your morning, my brother. We'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, Big Sarge. Pleasure.
Peace. Okay, man. Hey, there you have it, man. Sarge, life and motorcycling. Man, did we not talk about life today? Shout out to Mike McKoy, man, for writing this great book for us, man, and giving us tools again to be able to navigate what we need to navigate to be effective and successful and to live a happy, healthy life, man. So I appreciate everybody tuning in with us today. This was a little bit long one, man, but it had to be told. We could not shortcut this particular podcast today, man, because what he had to say was so important. But for everybody else, next week, man, Iron Elite, paying tribute to Black History Month event, February 2nd and 3rd. Everything that you need to know about that event is in the pent-up section of the Iron Elite page. If you're not on the Iron Elite page, you need to go ahead and send an invite. And if you're on the page, man, and you don't like to read, man, if you don't stop inboxing me about hotels, man, that hotel information is all over the top of that page. We'll be reposting it again. The Host Hotel, the Overflow Hotel. So if you don't have one, please get one, man. If it's sold out, there's also hotels within 2 to 3 miles from Harley-Davidson. So no fear, man. You'll get a hotel room. Also, for those who are coming in cold weather, man, that are coming from up north, please visit the Iron Elite page, man. We did a whole segment, a whole series on the road to Iron Elite, man, where we talk about cold weather riding, heated suits, heated gloves. We talk about preparing your motorcycle. We talked about navigating the weather, man. We gave you guys so much sauce to use for your trip. So it shouldn't be no excuse why you should not have a safe, effective trip. Also, I think that's all on the house cleaning. Oh, let's talk about the YouTube page real quick. Sarge, Life and Motorcycling. Okay, let me kind of put it out there for you guys. To subscribe to the page does not cost you a dime. All it does is it gives YouTube the ability to be able to notify you when we have a show, a podcast on YouTube. YouTube holds that subs and likes, it holds it high. It's the way that they figure out what's going on with the channel and how to work things in the algorithm. So please, if you can do your boy a favor, go over to Sarge Life and Motorcycling and go ahead and hit a subscribe, man, so you can get a notification so you'll know each and every time that we're on. So want to keep making this thing bigger, want to keep making this thing better, but I'm really going to need your help to do this thing, man, in 2024. And I guarantee you, if you give me your support, man, I'm going to give you all the energy that I have in 2024 to make this the best podcast, the best riding campaign, the best motorcycle channel humanly possibly. So shout out to everybody who's been supporting us, man. Shout out to everybody who's going to be getting on the road next week. I know you're going to be putting it together and navigating this weather. Right now, I think the weather should be pretty good over the next few days here in Florida, man. Things are looking really good. You can walk outside. Well, yesterday, for a while, you can almost walk outside in shorts. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal, man. But in the meantime, in between time, man, y'all keep it motorcycling, you dig?